Not a matter of if, but when crisis will rock your world. I'm Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of The Crisis Files. In each case file, we bring you thought leaders on the cutting edge of global challenges. Chad Werkema is Senior Vice President and Chief Supply Chain Officer at Motorola Solutions. He was on the inside when supply chain went from under the radar to all over the world during the COVID era. Since then, no slowdown. Chad is here for the case file I call Supply Chain Shuffle. Supply chain is really everything, Chad, yet it can be really misunderstood.
Absolutely. And I'm a professional supply chain guy. I went to the university, studied supply chain. I've been working in supply chain for 30 years.
I bet a lot of people won't even know that's a major.
No, and really the pandemic really brought it to light because it was probably one of the most common terms used in the news.
Yeah.
Blame it on the supply chain. Can't get this, can't get masks, can't get food, whatever it may be. So we take for granted, myself included, just going to the store and what you want to buy is there.
It's just ready for you and stocked
ready
up.
to go. But there's a whole supply chain of being able to plan and to purchase and to distribute and to deploy all those goods. And it's quite complicated. And I like to say in supply chain, there's a million moving parts every single day. And for certain, something's going to go wrong at some point.
Okay, so give us a visual. It's helpful. Let's just start with Motorola Solutions.
Sure.
A lot of people from the past would know this company for phones, but that is really not just what you do anymore. Absolutely.
So Motorola Solutions, based in Chicago, Illinois, has been a tech company that's been around for almost 100 years.
Wow.
In 2028, we'll celebrate our 100th anniversary.
That's amazing.
And we've been a first in many. First satellites, first mobile phones. But what we do today is public safety, enterprise security, and defense tech. And the products and solutions that we sell to our customers save lives. So think about first responders, any community that you may live in. More likely than not, Motorola Solutions is behind, whether it's the two-way radios, it's the mission-critical communications, the 911, it's the video.
The whole
ecosystem.
communications center, too, for all the 911s around the United States and in all parts of the world.
Absolutely. So when you are in that environment, getting supply is another level. Okay, I can't get food. Okay, I can't have my favorite snack for the day or a week. Okay, but if I can't get product or my team can't get product to first responders, people could die. So seconds save lives, and that's something that we do not take for granted as we approach supply.
First of all, such a great history of this American country that has been operating all over the globe for a long time. Give us the visual on, okay, so semiconductor chips were something in the past that was really all over the place. Are we in critical situations for semiconductor chips anymore?
Semiconductors are used in every electronic component device that is out there. So it's a cyclical industry, and you can get semiconductors. But where we have the challenge is memory. And memory is by far the largest generational challenge that we have experienced, certainly in my career of over 30 years. It's unprecedented. It's based on the AI build-out of data centers, and it's consuming all of the demand. And some people call it RAMageddon.
Oh my gosh, RAMageddon.
Yes.
A new word.
Yes.
I like learning new words, although that sounds scary.
Yes, it is scary because if you think about any device that uses electricity, most likely there's memory inside of it. From your cell phones to your personal computers, think about even automotive memory is there. And there's not enough capacity to go around. There's 3 major memory suppliers out there in the world, and they're booked through this year and going into next year. So this is going to be around here, humbly, at least through this year into next year as more capacity comes online.
Okay, so thank you for giving us kind of some of the nuts and bolts of supply chain. It's really everywhere. It's how companies plan, make, source, deliver, repair. I mean, all of those things are connected to supply chain. So pretty much every company that's a major corporation in the world has people working supply chain. But there was such a time when we didn't really even know that term. Now it's just a common thing we ask about. What are some of the massive disruptions, I mean, in summer, fall 2026, we know there are wars going on in different parts of the world. There are various levels of some parts of the globe thinking about oil. What are some of the disruptions that affect the work your peers around the globe do?
Absolutely. I mean, all the macro events impact supply chain. In fact, my job has changed. That's the first thing I do when I wake up and I go to bed. I look at the news and see what's going on because it's going to affect, good or bad or challenging, the supply chain that I have to operate in. So from wars that are existing to shortages of components, we talked about memory, to even nationalism that's going across not only the United States but around the world. Think about tariffs, et cetera. All of these play directly into supply chain. And supply chain is all about solving problems and getting the supply at the right time and at the right cost. And so you're kind of making a puzzle every day, and you don't know all the pieces. You know that there will be some disruption. But certainly in the past 2 years, supply chain's getting a gut punch in terms of the macroeconomics, and it keeps it quite interesting. And what I tell my team, and I tell everyone, if you work in the supply chain for in 1 year, it's 4 human years.
Oh, yes. I love it. Supply chain years. So give us an example of what you've had to do or change because there's a supply chain issue. Yeah.
So I learned through the pandemic, one of my biggest learnings I had was focus on what you can control. And it works personally as well in creating options. So I don't know what the issue will be. I can predict a little bit what may happen, but I know that there will be disruption. And I need to plan my organization or strategy around having options. The more options you have, the more shots on goal you can have to be able to get that supply at the right time and at the right cost for our customers.
All right. Wow. What about AI? So you talked about memory, but a lot of headlines for most of 2026, and I don't think they're going to go away in 2027, about data centers and everything that comes with data centers.
Yeah, so artificial intelligence probably is the most Googled and most used term right now. It's the organic of technology, if you will. Artificial intelligence is embedded in everything, and it's explosive growth. And what fuels that artificial intelligence is data centers, and think about facilities around the world that have water and good electricity that will be with a lot of different servers and computers that are basically processing at very high amounts of speed to be able to do those computations. And so there's been historic investments, trillions of dollars into the AI industry, and the hyperscalers, think about Alphabet, think about Meta, think about Oracle, think about Amazon, think about Microsoft. These are the hyperscalers. So these are the companies behind AI that is fueling this growth. And if you look at what's in a data center, it consumes a lot of memory, but also it consumes a lot of electricity and a lot of water.
And a lot of communities don't want these data centers in their backyard, so to speak. However, they could be a source of new jobs. They could be a source of tax breaks as well as investments into communities. From your perspective, how should regular people look at that?
Yeah, I think it's certainly you're going to see more about it and hear more about it in the news for sure. And it'll be a decision that every community will have to kind of wrestle with to say, hey, is it worth bringing a data center because it's this, okay, you have the jobs, which is great for the people. It's not a lot of jobs. Maybe it's hundreds of jobs or 50 or 100 or 200, but it's not like thousands of jobs. And is it going to put a burden on the grid? Is it going to put a burden on water? So I predict that you'll see a lot more in the news over the next year around communities, kind of wrestling with this. Okay, should data centers stay or should they go? And they're moving out to the burbs and to the suburbs. So don't think about in downtown areas. This is, just in the neighborhood.
Ex-urban, even exurbs or whatever they call that.
Absolutely.
The other thing I want to ask, because you get into strains on the grid. So for us to really understand the grid, and your company is really working in safety and protection, and I don't want to think about a 911 can't get out to a loved one or a little kid that's been injured or shot because of something with a data center that my community didn't want in the area. So give us kind of some perspective on what you're talking about there.
Yeah. So when you think about the grid, you just have to be able to, the data centers consume a lot of electricity, so you have to harness electricity somehow. And this will be a debate by community. Do data centers, will there be a trend of data centers creating their own electricity and water? Most likely that could probably possible and will happen at some point in time. But I also think about the security part of just the data centers, because think about data centers, it's a vulnerable attack by bad actors out there. Yeah. So having good safety and security systems to be able to predict and prevent some disruption there, because AI is going to be something that it's not going away. Just like video, just not the internet, it's not going away, and it's just growing exponentially. So more of us are going to be relying on AI in the future, even if you look out 2 years from now.
Right. I mean, it's the new frontier, but it's very much here.
It's the digital revolution.
It really is. The other piece, though, is just consumers. We want things fast. When I search, I want it in like 3 seconds. 3 seconds is almost sometimes too much to wait. And that does take memory. That does take probably more and more of these kinds of projects. So what's the reality check there for those of us consumers? I don't think we want to go back to the olden days and no device or no speed on our internet connections.
Yeah. I mean, we're humans. We want it better, faster, cheaper. We have options. That's what occurs. So, I mean, all of us as consumers should have seen price increases. And if you haven't in electronic components, you're going to see them. For sure, you're going to see them as the inventory gets through. I mean, even Apple, who really doesn't increase prices, had to increase prices recently on their iPhones and iPads because of memory costs. So it's pretty big there. Even if for those that are camera enthusiasts and you have these cards, these SD cards that you put in, they're probably 3x or 4x what they used to cost a year ago. So just expand that. Think about any type of device that uses electricity. It has at least one memory, multiple memories, and it's exponential in terms of the cost. And it's going to continue to raise prices over the next year going into 2027.
Share a little bit about some of just the economic impact, whether it's cities, countries, companies, and even down to the individual. What kind of visual can you give us on that?
In terms of
like as supply chain challenges continue, because that's not like a quick fix. I think we're always going to have a challenge to supply chain because you identified really the core thing. Mm-hmm. It's about memory. Now, It's not about getting your refrigerator. It's not about getting the new dining table. Yeah. It's really about things connected to AI and speed and devices and safety, all of these things, but as well as consumerism. So what kind of economic impact are we going to see? Are we going to see higher taxes because we want we want an easier life? Are we going to see cities and states having to make decisions between one option or another?
Yeah, I think it's all the above, depending on the environment. But certainly, you could see taxes. AI companies sell tokens, and that's how they're monetizing that to selling to large companies, and that's getting quite lucrative for the AI companies. But at the end of the day, as a consumer, let's say I have a phone and maybe it works fine, but I like to get the latest and greatest every 2 years. Maybe consumers won't do that. Because the consumer market, there's not a lot of margin. And if the prices of memory continue to skyrocket 3, 4, 5x, 6x, people might say, you know what? I'm okay with this phone. I'll wait another year. But we haven't seen that right now. So you have a perfect storm here of a shortage of memory, AI data centers, the hyperscalers, if you will, expanding at unprecedented levels. And you don't have enough capacity. And everyone, what happens when you can't get something? People panic buy. So you got panic buying going on. So you have all these things going on until capacity goes online, the panic buying settles down. It's going to be interesting. And if you take a look at the memory companies that are out there, memory typically grows at 8, 10, 12% a year. These companies, they're growing at 3, 4, 500x right now.
Wow. That says a lot. How can the regular person, and I put myself in that category, who is not a supply chain expert. How can we understand what's going on in our own, not just households, but in our own communities, and do some of our own future casting for those kinds of desires you're talking about?
Yes. I mean, if you think about the data centers, that will certainly have to go through a city council meeting or whatever. So, you'll get a lot of news coverage in newspaper. And
so people should really stay tuned to that kind of thing.
Stay tuned, as data centers coming through. You need to have good water supply and stable energy. So it's not every single location. But take a look and stay tuned there. And again, if you're thinking about buying an electronic component or a device or something, it's probably the prices are going to go up versus go down over the next year. So think about that as a wise consumer as we get into holidays. I know it's a little bit of time before Christmas, but still.
Yeah. Yes. And that brings me to just farther crystal ball predictions, Chad. What can you tell us for, as 2026 comes to an end and we go even beyond 2026, what are some big things you're seeing, because you're watching a lot more of these future drivers and predictors than most of us are?
Yeah, Roshini, I'd say, even before I get into that, I'd say supply chain, the world is small and very connected, regardless of tariffs and everything else. And so any disruption impacts, and it's a domino wave effect across the board. So unfortunately, I think we're going to continue to see wars. Unfortunately, I think we're going to continue to see nationalism and tariffs, whether on the U.S. side or other countries, as there's positioning and posturing going on there. Memory will be there for sure into 2027, and this AI data build out is going to be interesting. Is it going to bust? I don't think it's going to bust, but there's so much momentum and investments. Is it going to slow down? We'll see. But right now, it doesn't look that way, at least for the next year.
Wow. Lots of great food for thought. So I am really excited when you shared with me that this is your first podcast,
It is.
Crisis Files, with all the work that you do and the media that you're exposed to and part of. So thank you for coming on the Crisis Files as your first. Are you feeling good?
Yes, I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we love to have thought leaders in this chair, in the studio with us. So I'm going to throw something at you that we did not plan for at all, but I have to kind of give a little hot list of, you are a tech guy. What is the one tech device you could not live without?
My iPhone.
Okay. And your iPhone over Droid. I'm
Yes.
a Droider.
Yeah.
So I get teased about that all the time. What about, he travels all over the world. What's the one place that is just kind of your nirvana? You just love it.
I like Iceland.
Really?
It's raw. It's gorgeous. There's not a lot of people, and you can see really nature up close, from glaciers to dormant volcanoes to hot springs to geysers, waterfalls. Just absolutely breathtaking, and it's not too far away from Chicago. It's a 6-hour flight.
All right. Now, that's not bad at all. What's the one place in the world you haven't been where you'd want to go?
Antarctica.
Oh.
And I'm actually going there in 2028.
Oh, cool. All right. I love that you're mentioning these cold places, which would be kind of last on my list, but that would be for the cool factor.
Yes.
I mean, you got to do it. If you can do Antarctica, get out there. All right. Well, we'll have to talk with you after that trip. What is something that's a piece of advice you can leave with crisis filers from your perspective, the kinds of trends you're watching, to just help make us or put us in a better position to prevent crisis in our own lives?
Yeah. Look around the corner, see what's happening. The macro impacts the micro. The macro impacts the micro. Maybe big, maybe small, but it does. Have options. Think about what options you have. Plan. There's a value of planning, and plan ahead as much as you can. And just realize, too, there's things that you just can't control, and that's okay, and you're not alone.
That's a good feeling, right? You're not alone, and there are answers. And you've also given us some really good terms now to be looking at. I mean, memory. that is, it's interesting because it's not a physical thing we can touch, but it's something that's just driving so many decisions right now.
Absolutely.
And changes. All right. Well, so great. Connect directly with Chad Werkema on LinkedIn and at MotorolaSolutions.com. Today's case file is powered by Mall of America. Mall of America. Great shopping. A dazzling and dizzying variety of attractions and restaurants. Did you realize Mall of America also hosts hundreds of events each year? Everything from high-fashion runway shows to visits from the hottest musicians. Pop-up celebrations ahead of movie premieres. Charity-related walks and holiday-themed experiences. You never know what you will find at our mall. For upcoming events and happenings, check out mallofamerica.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to The Crisis Files on your platform of choice. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram at The Crisis Files. Visit thecrisisfiles.com for all 4 seasons of the show. I'm Roshini Rajkumar. Join me next time on The Crisis Files.